Fortnite, please explain this. Here's the Midas bundle, and if we scroll a little down, you'll find his weapon wrap. Did you forget his skin turns everything gold? Epic Games is known for the quality of their updates, but if you look closely, some are useless, like the ability to tame frogs. Yeah, you're meant to eliminate these guys from meat, so why would you ever want them on your team? I have no idea. They weren't rideable, you couldn't pick them up, they would just follow you around aimlessly. Some useless features are still adored by the community, like thanking the bus driver. This was added after a petition and was originally a cool idea, but then Epic updated this with the ability to tip him. Now he was an NPC who asked for 4,000 gold, and after donating such an absurd amount, you get a sound effect. With outfits like Nitro Jerry, you get a built-in E-mode before realizing it's disabled 99% of the time. The only way to use it is by getting a victory royale, just you're the only one left to see it. Yeah, baby! A feature that doesn't make a lot of sense is probably on your gun right now. This whole time, we've never had sights on a shotty, leaving players to mostly fire from the hip, but now modded shotguns have scopes. Not exactly useful, so you're forced to run to a bunker just to take it off. Sometimes players should be careful what they ask for. For the longest time, players have wanted a train on the map because it sounds awesome. Other games like Warzone nailed it, so when Fortnite gave us this, no one expected it to be so useless. Fans realized the loot inside was kinda garbage, and the best items were locked behind a hackable chest, which takes forever to open. Not to mention, you can't stop the train at all, and getting run over just moves you out of the way. On the bright side, Epic knows how bad the train is, and next season we could expect a total revamp with a Mad Max style instead. Not the only feature to fall short, at the start of Season 2, Zeus's lightning bolts were insanely overpowered. You're combining it with other mythics and annihilating players through builds, until one day, they vanished. The Avatar collab made everyone forget about this thing, but now that it's returned, Epic has kinda ruined it. Today this thing can barely eliminate players, and picking it up is a guaranteed trip back to the lobby. While you're there, you probably ain't spending your V-Bucks on emoticons. These are almost never sold on their own because Epic knows players won't use them. Think about it, you probably own like at least 30 of these, but how many do you actually throw up? Maybe 1, 2, or none at all. Everyone knows these are thrown into the battle pass to pad tiers. In fact, Epic knew they were so useless, they had to make an entire cosmetic set just to display them. Still not as embarrassing as when the cloak gauntlets were removed. These appeared randomly in Chapter 4, letting players turn invisible at any given moment. Sounded amazing on paper, and it became super useful until everything was ruined by a single item. Use a victory crown, and let's just say it was more of a beacon than anything. But hey, at least it's not as useless as the upgrade benches in solid gold. Yeah, they saw a mode that gives you legendary items and thought, you know what, let's give them something they'll never use. And don't even get me started on the itemized version. They turned this thing into a throwable item, which took up an entire inventory slot to carry around. Imagine holding this on the chance that you could upgrade something later. Personally, I like the idea of unique throwables, but players were not interested. At least upgrade benches did something, unlike the worst wildlife in Fortnite history. They added wasps to the game back in Chapter 4, and if you got too close to them, they would attack you. So when we realized these could be thrown at enemies, you already know how powerful they'd be. Okay, the wasps, they don't really do much. I can see why Fortnite added them, but I have no idea why you could ring doorbells. These have been around for years, and while sometimes they're an XP quest, most of the time your experience is just this. No wonder Epic deleted them from the map. And Fortnite, I gotta ask, why are there reboot vans in solos? This has been a thing for years now, and no one seems to be bringing this up. You'll be running around only for a van to remind you got no friends. And while we're on the topic, the jungle season had the strangest feature, adding a special reboot van to the map. This was a deboot van, and usually when Fortnite redesigns a feature, it's gonna be something new. Players saw this in the files and started to get excited. How are they gonna shake up reviving? Well, the answer's pretty simple, they didn't. These vans were just decorations for challenges and were straight up useless. But a feature with wasted potential sounded too good to be true. We heard a Dragon's Breath shotgun was coming to the game, and as you know, combining a shotgun with fire bullets, it just sounds ridiculous. But it was only good up close in something like a box fight, and somehow you just end up lighting your own box on fire. Maybe you prefer firing from a distance. If so, the mounted turret was designed for you. All we had to do was place it down and you would get a huge artillery cannon, except this was a trap item, so you'd sit and be frozen in place. A very free headshot headshot snipe. This item was so useless, the streamers actually found a better use for the turret than shooting it. Now this weapon is infamous for one reason, being totally pointless. Ironically, Epic took the recycler from another game, Creative Destruction, which was a total ripoff of Fortnite. Except maybe stealing bootleg items isn't the greatest idea because it was terrible. This thing was meant to suck up builds and props, turning them into ammo. Only problem was it took up an inventory slot. To make things worse, Fortnite dropped a mythic version, and sorry Epic, that did not save this thing. It was one of the many reasons fans hated on the Primal season, other than their main feature, which became a huge disappointment. Crafting was a massive update that was meant to change Fortnite forever, but instead fans spent the entire season upgrading makeshift weapons into basic ones. I mean, if we got crazy mythics or legendary items in return for collecting animal bones, it'd make more sense, but who wants to spend all game playing a farming simulator just to get a green pump? Another idea that sounded way better on the drawing board was the propifier. By this point, the only way players could disguise themselves was with NPCs or rift zones. Now we had the ability to do it 24/7, or so we thought. In reality, you couldn't walk up to something and become it, you had to choose from a list. These were the most obvious things in the world, and in a fast-paced match, you'd never be able to use it in time. Just like the mythic that was supposed to be insane. During Primal, we heard that Fortnite was working on jump boots, a way to get around with ease and take players by surprise. Except when they were added, it did not live up to the hype. Yeah, people started calling these glorified hop rocks, so you can see why they never came back. But no one expected them to delete a feature less than a month after adding it. Weather was meant to blow us away, giving us random events like tornadoes and thunderstorms. And while twisters were pretty damn cool, players weren't impressed when it came to lightning. If you get struck by a bolt, you'd expect something cool to happen, maybe be set on fire, given a cool item, even going back to the lobby. Let's just say the results were a whole lot worse.
What is that?
Still, the entire weather system was really unique and people loved it, so imagine our faces when Fortnite deleted the entire thing never to bring it back. And at some point, it feels like Epic is straight up trolling us. For 5 years, we have tried to give Fortnite our money. All we ask for in return are lightsaber pickaxes. This would be one of the best-selling items in history, and when this year's Star Wars collab was announced, everyone hoped it would finally be time. It was only for us to check the item shop and spot a lightsaber, just not in the way you think. They even included the ignition sound just to rub it in. We have a car boost, but not pickaxes. Please, Fortnite, make this happen. The pranks keep coming in the form of helipads. You gotta admit, this might be the most useless thing added to the map over the years. And trust me, they love adding them. Every chapter has been full of helipads, despite the fact choppas haven't been in Fortnite for 2 years. Instead, we have to get around with items from the loot pool, and sometimes it's a total disaster. Fortnite decided to make the snowball launcher exotic, which excited players as it was a reskin grenade launcher. But not entirely. This new item, the Big Chill, would be different. As an exotic, you'd expect it to deal more damage, maybe even have knockback, and nah. They gave this thing 0 damage, making you spend hundreds of gold for an item that just made people slide around.
Nice.
And other items were also straight up garbage, like the poison dart. After years of placing down spike traps and annihilating players, we finally had a new item, and it was super weak. The poison barely affected enemies, and it took forever to activate. And I gotta hand it to Epic, they truly recreated the feeling of getting your car booted. We used to walk up to seemingly normal vehicles only for the drive button to not work. There was no way to tell which cars were real and which were fake until you got close enough to notice the boot on the wheel. This holds the record for the most pointless thing in Fortnite. Click on screen right now to watch 50 secrets in Fortnite. It's been Tommy and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.